No one expected the collapse to begin with a single file. Not a headline, not a statement, just a silent upload that detonated like a bomb. For years, Snoop Dogg stood untouched, a living legend who managed to rise above every scandal, every rumor, every controversy that swallowed others whole. He was untouchable, bulletproof, too beloved to fall. But when that video appeared, everything about his legacy suddenly felt fragile. The footage didn't leak through gossip blogs or fan pages. It surfaced in elite circles, industry executives, label heads, lawyers, people with something to lose. The kind of people who don't talk unless they're forced to. Behind the scenes, they watched it in stunned silence. Because this wasn't just infidelity, it was a connection. The moment insiders recognized where the recording was taken, the panic began. The setting matched one of the private properties tied to Sean Diddy Combs, the same man sitting in federal prison after the government exposed his underground world of exploitation, manipulation, and control. Images from inside those estates are unmistakable. The neon lighting, the mirrored walls, the surveillance-style angles, signatures of a man who recorded everything, allegedly using the footage as leverage. The realization hit instantly. If Snoop was in that room, he wasn't just cheating. He was stepping directly into the same darkness that destroyed Diddy's empire. What made the leak even stranger wasn't what it showed, it was who leaked it. Sources close to the situation claim the footage came from inside Snoop's own home, specifically from someone with access to his private archives. And insiders believe that someone was his wife and business partner, Shante. The timing was precise. Diddy was only weeks into his sentence, federal investigators were still sorting through seized recordings, and the industry was terrified of being dragged down with him. It wasn't a coincidence. It was a calculated release, one that sent a message louder than any press conference ever could. The moment rumors of the footage reached the public, shockwaves ripped across social media. The idea that Snoop, a family man, a father, a brand worth millions, might be tied to the same network of underground gatherings that prosecutors described in court was beyond damaging. It was career-ending. Overnight, the whispers began. If Shante leaked this, what else does she have? How long did she know? And more importantly, why now? People close to the family say she waited until she had absolute proof, something undeniable, something that couldn't be spun by lawyers or publicists. This wasn't a mistake or an accident. It was a warning shot. And the industry heard it.
For years, people looked at Snoop and Shante as one of the few surviving love stories in hip-hop. High school sweethearts, parents, business partners. The couple who made it through every storm. But what the public never saw was the quiet power Shante held behind the scenes. She wasn't just his wife. She was the architect of the empire, the one who negotiated contracts, protected his image, and kept his business interests alive while he transformed into a cultural icon. She built the family brand, and she protected it with the kind of devotion most celebrities only dream of, which is exactly why the leak felt so calculated. Insiders say Shante didn't react with emotion. She reacted with precision. She didn't scream, didn't post quotes on Instagram, didn't run to the press. Instead, she made one move. She released a piece of evidence that changed everything. People who know her describe her as strategic, intelligent, and fiercely protective of her children. She has lived through the cheating rumors, the trolling, the gossip. She stayed silent when other women came forward online with accusations, because she always knew what was true and what wasn't. But this time was different. This time, the footage wasn't speculation. It wasn't rumor. It was proof tied to a man the federal government now calls a predator. And when the footage leaked, it didn't just threaten Snoop's marriage. It threatened the entire brand she helped him build. She had access to emails, travel records, business correspondence, every detail of his schedule. No one in his world knew him better. which means that if she chose to expose one video, she could expose more. People within their inner circle claim she has been gathering information quietly for months, maybe years, not to destroy him, but to protect herself and the empire she built. Because if the government is about to crack open Diddy's network, anyone connected to those events becomes a liability. And Shante isn't letting anyone drag her down with him. Now, the conversation among industry insiders has shifted. This wasn't a breakup. This wasn't a jealous wife. This was a businesswoman making a preemptive strike. She positioned herself as the one who refused to stay silent, the one who chose self-respect over complicity. If investigators come looking, she will not be the woman standing in court saying she had no idea. She will be the one who tried to warn the world first. And that kind of move isn't emotional. It's powerful. It tells every record label, every sponsor, every corporation, she is not the problem. She is separating herself from whatever is coming next. And the industry heard it.
For most of his career, Snoop seemed far from Diddy's world. Their public relationship looked casual. Industry friends, occasional collaborators, two legends with mutual respect. But behind the scenes, there were whispers that certain celebrities were invited into Diddy's private circle. A world of exclusive parties where cameras were rumored to watch everything, where secrecy was more important than fun, and where attendees were asked to sign agreements before stepping through the door. When prosecutors described these events in court, people assumed they were exaggerating. No one wanted to believe something that dark could exist behind the glitz of music and fame. But when federal agents raided Diddy's homes, the rumors stopped being stories and became evidence. Prosecutors described controlled environments, rooms designed for recording, walls filled with hidden cameras, substances flowing freely, and guests brought in under the impression that it was all harmless entertainment. Some attendees later testified they didn't know they were being filmed. Some said they were pressured. Others said they feared that if they refused, they would never work again. And buried inside that world was a terrifying detail. Diddy allegedly kept tapes as leverage. Anyone who crossed him risked having their private footage exposed. That's where Snoop's name suddenly became dangerous. If he was caught on camera in one of those rooms, even as a witness, even without doing anything illegal, his brand would collapse. Sponsors would run. TV networks would back away. It wouldn't matter whether he was guilty of a crime. The association alone would destroy his image. A family-friendly icon involved in a scandal connected to coercion and exploitation? That is the kind of headline that ends careers instantly. And that's what makes Shante's leak feel different. It doesn't just hint at infidelity. It hints at involvement. It suggests she knew what he was doing, where he was going, and who he was with. She may not have wanted to expose him, but if the government was about to do it, she needed to move first. Because once the FBI starts connecting names and timestamps, marriages and reputations become collateral damage. Shante wasn't going to let her legacy be destroyed by his choices. So now, the question haunting the industry isn't whether the footage is real. It's how much more exists, and who else is in it.
When federal agents stormed Diddy's Miami and Los Angeles mansions, most people thought they were searching for drugs or financial records. No one imagined what they would actually find. According to leaked reports, agents left with truckloads of digital storage, external drives, encrypted servers, laptops, SD cards, even hidden hard drives inside furniture. Prosecutors called the material incredibly sensitive, so explicit and incriminating that parts of it had to be sealed to protect ongoing investigations. And that's when the panic spread through Hollywood. Witnesses from Diddy's trial claimed that every event, every private party was recorded, not by accident, by design. Hidden cameras were placed in walls, ceilings, furniture, rooms transformed into elaborate stages. The files were said to be organized with labels, dates, initials, locations. If even half of that is true, investigators now hold the most dangerous archive in the entertainment industry. Names, faces, actions. Careers waiting to burn. And here's the part that sent shockwaves through the industry. Prosecutors didn't deny that celebrities were captured in those recordings. They refused to confirm identities, but witnesses hinted that multiple famous figures appear on camera, some willingly, some not. And while Snoop's name hasn't been publicly linked to any official files, the timing of Shante's leak, right as the government sorts through the drives, is impossible to ignore. Some believe she saw something. Some believe she heard something. Some believe she knew investigators were getting close. If Snoop's image shows up on even one of those files, it doesn't matter whether he committed a crime. The public wouldn't care. In today's world, accusations destroy faster than courts ever could. One leaked screenshot could erase decades of goodwill. Which brings us to the chilling possibility. What if the video Shante leaked wasn't the worst of what exists? What if she released the first clip because she knew the rest was coming?
As soon as the video surfaced, Snoop's entire world shifted. It was quiet at first. No statements, no interviews, no public response. But behind closed doors, chaos erupted. His team began scrubbing social media, removing posts featuring Shante, deleting photos that showed them together, trying to rewrite the digital footprint before questions turned into headlines. His PR team went silent, his lawyers stepped in, and the most noticeable change was the one fans immediately picked up on. Snoop stopped talking. When celebrities are innocent, they deny everything instantly. They defend themselves, post statements, call out lies. But Snoop didn't. Not a single word. And that silence became louder than any confession. Industry insiders claim he's terrified, not of losing his marriage, but of what might happen if federal investigators find anything linking him to Diddy's events. Because if the FBI believes even for a moment that he knew what was happening inside those walls, his entire reputation collapses. Sponsors have already begun reviewing contracts. Networks paused upcoming projects. Companies that once used him as the face of family-friendly advertising are reconsidering, because no brand wants to be tied to a scandal involving exploitation and secret recordings. His team is trying to contain the damage, but every hour of silence makes things worse. And then the biggest sign of panic leaked. Snoop has been calling lawyers, publicists, and former allies around the clock. People who have worked with him for decades say he is more anxious than they ever seen. The man known for his calm, smooth confidence is now on edge. Worried the leak wasn't just a personal betrayal, it was a warning of what's coming next.
People close to the couple say Shante doesn't just have one video, she has an archive. Years of messages, receipts, recordings, screenshots, contract documents, travel logs, evidence of where Snoop was, who he met with, and what he was doing. Not because she planned to destroy him, but because she was the one keeping the business alive. She handled the accounts. She signed the deals. She managed the staff. She knew everything. And if she wanted to protect herself before the federal government started digging deeper, she needed leverage. That's what makes her silence so dangerous. She hasn't cried publicly. She hasn't done interviews. She hasn't begged for sympathy. She is silent. And silence is power. Insiders say her legal team is already drafting divorce papers and intellectual property filings that could give her control of the business empire. If Snoop goes down, she walks away clean. And then came the rumor that changed everything. Shante is writing a memoir, a book reportedly titled "Paid the Cost to Be the Boss Lady." If she publishes the truth about what she knows, it won't just expose Snoop. It could expose the entire network. Executives, celebrities, athletes, business partners, people who thought they were protected. That's why her silence feels like a countdown. She is not begging Snoop to stay. She is not asking for forgiveness. She already made her move. She already fired the first shot.
and the world is waiting to see if she fires the second. When Diddy fell, the entire entertainment industry flinched. Rappers, athletes, executives, people who partied with him, worked with him, traveled with him, suddenly became very quiet. Some deleted photos, others erased old posts, some disappeared completely. Because everyone knows one thing: if Diddy really recorded everything, then no one is safe. The whispers started fast. Rumors that certain celebrities had already hired crisis lawyers, that powerful executives asked prosecutors if their names appeared in any of the files, that some stars who were once proud to stand beside Diddy suddenly refused to even say his name. The fear spread faster than the news itself, because no one knows who appears on those recordings, and no one knows when they might surface. And then the timing became suspicious. Right before Diddy was sentenced, celebrities began distancing themselves, publicly, quietly, strategically. Jay-Z stepped back. LeBron James cited personal reasons. Other stars who were always seen beside Diddy suddenly vanished from photos and interviews. It was too coordinated to be coincidence. Now the industry is watching Snoop the way animals watch a wounded leader in the wild. Calm on the outside, terrified inside. Because if Snoop gets exposed, he won't be alone. Every name connected to those events becomes a headline waiting to happen. And nobody wants to be the next scandal. Nobody wants to be the next one caught on tape. The fear has become bigger than the scandal itself. This isn't about one rapper anymore. It's about an entire hidden world of secrets that was never supposed to see daylight.
For decades, Snoop built a second career outside of rap. Family shows, cooking specials, kids programming, video games, endorsements, partnerships with billion-dollar corporations. He became the friendly face of hip-hop, the safe icon even grandparents adored. But that image only survives if the world sees him as harmless, respectable, safe to market. One leaked recording could destroy all of it. If footage shows him at one of Diddy's private parties, even standing in the background, that image shatters. Sponsors walk away. TV networks cancel deals. Family-friendly shows disappear. Overnight, Snoop could lose everything he built over 30 years, not because of a crime, but because of association. The world doesn't wait for court verdicts anymore. The internet judges instantly, and brands follow. That's the nightmare his team is trying to stop. Not divorce, not embarrassment, reputation extinction. And here's the haunting part. The public hasn't seen the full video yet, only a few seconds leaked online. But insiders swear the full clip is much worse. Enough to prove he was there. Enough to show he wasn't just visiting. Enough to end the myth of the harmless superstar. That's why Shante's silence is so loud. She hasn't defended him. She hasn't denied anything. She hasn't tried to protect his image. She already knew that once the first domino fell, the rest would follow. And she wasn't going to let his choices burn her life down with him. Now the world waits. The FBI sorts through evidence. Celebrities hold their breath. Lawyers sharpen their contracts. The archive hasn't surfaced, but everyone can feel it, like a storm gathering just out of sight. The only remaining question, the one nobody wants to ask out loud: if this is only the beginning, what happens when the rest of the footage drops?
Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. And see you soon.